for all of us, making sure we get it done. All right, we're all here. It's 7:30 something, 7:33. So I'm going to call the meeting to order. This is the first meeting of the year 2024 for the Police Advisory Committee. The agenda is up on the website if anyone needs a copy of it. We don't have any printed ones here, so please feel free to pull it up online. The first order of business is approving the minutes from the last meeting. Ken, I'm sorry, you sent them around, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Has everyone had a chance to look at them?
Katie sent me one suggestion, which was to add a bracket next to all of the meeting dates, since we've already changed them, and just write, don't pay attention to these, like.
Because Ken had listed like all the meeting dates that we decided on.
As we decided earlier, but then we.
Changed them,
Yeah.
right. Is there a way to insert the new meeting dates?
Or is that coming out of this?
It's not coming out of this meeting. The agenda that I first circulated was a mistake.
Well, but so if we wanna list all of the meeting dates literally right now, if anyone has them ready,
You can put them in this.
yeah, that way,
Let me pull it up. But yes, make a note in there that those are incorrect meeting dates.
Yeah,
Thank you.
that's the one change I made so far.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Thank you.
But even I was looking, because I was looking at the minutes as to the schedule, not the update on my calendar.
Yeah.
Fine. So here is the accurate list. It's Thursday, January 18th, 7:30 a.m. Monday, February 19th, 6 p.m. Thursday, March 21st, 7:30 a.m. Monday, April 15th, 6 p.m. I'm just realizing that one's gonna be a doozy for me. Thursday, May 16th, 7:30 a.m.
That I have a speaker series that night, April 15th, so that's
fine. We'll put it on the calendar and then we'll.
Yeah.
Thursday, May 16th, 7:30 a.m. Monday, June 17th, 6 p.m. Thursday, July 18th, 7:30 a.m. Monday, August 19th, 6 p.m. Thursday, September 19th, 7:30 a.m. Monday, October 21st, 6 p.m. Thursday, November 21st, 7:30 a.m. Monday, December 16th, 6 p.m.
Great.
And Ken, I'm just emailing them to you also, so just make sure that you heard and what is scheduled is consistent. Okay, with that one comment, thank you, Katie, for making it. Are there any other changes in the last meeting? Okay,
No.
minutes. Can I hear a motion for approval?
I move to approve the minutes.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Any opposition? No, okay. Could you, Ken, send, CCing me, send those to Alan to be posted?
Yep.
Okay. Community comment. We have two members of the community. We have the police chief here and one member of the community. If anyone has comment, please identify yourself by name and address. And we'll go from there. Yes.
Yes, John Constantine, 400 North Donald. I'm here to listen to what your findings are from the listening sessions and what you're going to include in your report before it goes to council. What items you're recommending for them, if anything, before it goes to council. Because I think the public should know whether or not things are included or not included. The other thing I'd like to follow up on is, have you looked into hearing loss, tinnitus, PTSD, anxiety, and alcohol disorder within police officers
Have we looked at that
Yes.
question?
as a public concern?
So are you finished with your comment and then I can address all of them?
And I will provide you with some things that you should be aware of before you go to the council with your recommendations.
Thank you.
And since Mr. String is here, Chief String, if he can identify any items that he would be concerned about if an officer of his would have all of those conditions, does that concern in the public that, someone with severe hearing loss, at least that's what they claim. You have indicated, if not, perhaps they're falsifying things for other purposes. But I'm going to take their word for it that they do have these conditions. So I'll respond.
Thank you. So with regard to the first, this report is not making any specific recommendations to our council. It is an accumulation of the qualitative and quantitative sort of, we're trying to get our arms around what exists and what might, to sort of ground us with any further projects. So just, there are no specific recommendations coming out of this. All reports that are submitted to our council are then presented at public health and safety meetings. So the report is made public prior to, as part of the notes that will be available to the public before the public health and safety meeting. So that is where you can.
Before it gets to,
I'm sorry.
is that required 2 public safety meetings before?
There's no specific timing. I believe it's when they can get to it based on what else they have to work on in public health and safety. So what I would suggest is if you want to see the report before it's sort of discussed by public health and safety, just follow along with what is being presented in those meetings. Okay. The second part of what you raise, I think, is a really important topic. And it gets to, in my mind, 2 things that we work on. One we've discussed here is making sure that there's a fine-tuned complaint procedure or comment procedure, which is something that once we get this out the door, we can begin to look at. But that's come up in here as an idea for something that needs to be shored up, is making sure that the public knows what is the official channels for filing a complaint or a comment or a compliment to the police department. And the second issue is specifically what is the policy for police officers with certain categories of health issues. I don't know if there's a specific policy or if that policy is being reviewed.
There isn't a specific policy with regards to, officer health, so the state has set requirements, and as long as the officer meets those requirements, we don't have continuing medical evaluations.
So that would be, that's the answer to the second question. That there's policy that dictates the extent to what needs to happen.
I'd like you to have.
Sure, please pass this along. Thank you.
After everybody in this.
You know what, I'll just copy for everyone.
There,
No.
Okay, if someone hands it to me, I can just scan it, make sure each of us gets a copy.
And Mr. Constantine, I also just wanted to mention that the feedback that you have sent, the written feedback that you sent, when we had the online questionnaire, that is in the material that will go to Borough. So that's in there.
Mr. Constantine, if I can ask, this is an exhibit from a federal trial in Florida. It's a transcript.
Yes.
So what this relates to?
You read it and it's self-explanatory.
Okay. Oh, and I'm sorry. So this is just a suggestion for you for how we should proceed.
Well, so there are, in fact, things you need to ask further questions about.
Okay. Thank you.
that's acceptable. You know, why is it acceptable to have all those and be on the street?
Why is it acceptable for officers to be wearing earplugs and be on the street?
No, not wearing earplugs. If that's a mitigating factor, that's fine. But I need to hear that that you reviewed the conditions there and that you're fine with accepting the consequences of interactions with the public.
Okay. Thank you. I appreciate the clarification and we will take a look at that. Most important from this committee is that we will consider how.
What goes wrong with medications and too, like, this is very deep.
I understand, from the responsibility of this committee.
But are you aware of, you're not aware of it, now you are.
Now we're aware. But what this really gets to.
If my information before wasn't clear enough. for
I
your
appreciate
leadership.
that. So this committee is not specifically responsible for establishing the various policies. We can work in concert to get information from the community to the police department, to assist the police department if they are choosing to adopt and evaluate certain policies. So we're sort of an intermediary. And so now we have this information.
Forward, we can feed that, but if you want me to make, if you're telling me I need to do formal work in order to see action.
What I'm saying to you is this, now have this information. We will all take a look at it. We will also work, probably at the next meeting to identify a clear complaint procedure for citizens to be able to get communication directly to the police department and to, either the mayor or borough council, whoever is the appropriate next step. Okay?
Thank you.
You're welcome. Is there any other community comment? Update, police chief, is there anything that you would like to update us about?
So, waiting on the borough for the update to the website as far as the communications plan. I know we discussed it in public health and safety. We're going to take that first step, which is, probably the easiest, which is expanding what resources the borough already utilizes as far as communication tools, and hopefully get that message spread out. So we're going to create a special page on the website just so everyone can come over one spot and get links to everything versus now it's kind of like haphazard where you have to go.
And I'm sorry, this is for communication.
Yes, additionally, the one thing that came up with health and safety was, I think initially the focus was on sending information out, which is critical in case of emergency, but also we're collecting information back in. So we're going to make sure that residents are aware of my probably can reach out to different departments, not just but provide information back to us as well. For that two-way communication process. Aside from that, we're working towards the spring events, getting weight control back in, planning some events, some community events, walking the train stations.
Thank you.
Yes.
So, with regard to public health and safety, way back, we presented our first sort of recommendation, which was the emergency communication plan and sort of shoring it up. I presented it to public health and safety in December, but there's been obviously new members of borough council and there's a new composition of public health and safety committee. So Jean Burke is now chairing the committee. And so they reconsidered it at this January meeting. And everyone was really supportive of that recommendation. And obviously they're taking steps. And one of the low hanging fruit is making sure that people know about Everbright and signing up. And I know that I've been getting like a gazillion texts for the various notifications that I signed up when I first signed up for it from Lower Merion and as well as from Norbrook. So it really does look like the recommendation that we've made has been well received and is being acted on. So congratulations to all of us for our first job well done. And thank you very much for implementing it.
Absolutely.
And putting it into action. Jean and I were also just beginning to do, one of the things that this first meeting that they had was sort of bouncing around what are things that this committee should be responsible for and can be responsible for. And this dovetails off of our conversation at the end of the last meeting that we held. And honestly, at this point, it's a little bit unclear. So certainly we can be proactive in the way that we were when we saw the need for the better emergency communication plan. On the other hand, the point that I've made is this is a really strong committee. We have 5 really great citizens here who, and at the moment, there is a shortage of person power on a lot of the other committees. And so, you know, I'm positing the question of, do we want to be creating work? You know, but anything that we go out and do proactively is wonderful, but there's limited resources, right? So with a really positive and proactive police chief, with a strong borough council, what is the necessity, you know, for us to be doing? I are on the side of if there's a need, we should be doing the work. But if there's not work to be done, we shouldn't be making work just for the sake of making work. So that's still being clarified. I obviously will keep you guys in the loop. We will not, and I'm making as chair a statement to all of us. We're not going to hold meetings just for the sake of holding meetings. Okay. Which is to say, it also puts a burden on all of you. If there is something that you see that you want to make sure that is addressed, that we're taking on, and I will reach out to you before I make the decision to cancel meeting. Okay.
Is there, this might be more for the chief, is there, data obviously continues to be collected.
Right.
Is there a role or a place that we should have or could have in helping to review the ongoing police data, or is that being done elsewhere and so it doesn't have to come through us?
It depends. So I sent you the response time data.
Which is great.
Yeah, so that would probably be the only thing that, because it's a comparison with Lower Merion, that would be outside the normal, operations of the police department. So if you want to continue doing that, I don't know, maybe that's like every 6-month basis, whatever you expect. But we can set a time frame and then I can report that information to the county.
Great. Because we also can, like we did early on before you got here, deep dives. Where were incidences happening? What times were they happening? And I don't know if anyone's looking at that data in that way.
No, well, I mean, we do to a degree, not to the level that I'd like to. One of the benefits with this new reporting system that we're getting this year, it allows you to do like GIS mapping and all, so we can look at things. So much better detail, simply, we're not based on math and dropping things. It does all math, so that'll be about it.
That's great.
Like one thing that came up in some of our listening sessions, I think especially maybe with the NBA one that I have to go back to my notes, is how like Lower Merion has like a police blotter, and Narberth doesn't. And it seemed like citizens were kind of like, we sort of want to know what's happening, like what are the crimes in Narberth, because a lot of it's maybe not visible. I know Ken sent out, there were things like forgery or, mail fraud, whatever. So the citizens kind of, they seem to express the desire for more information in general, just they sort of feel like they're not seeing all the good stuff that's happening or whatever work the police is doing. So how difficult would it be to implement a blotter type thing, or is that just like an extra layer of work? I know Lower Merion is much bigger, so.
And it might be the frequency that is coming out there. So we'll post to Facebook and, if the community wants a little more detail. So it's more of, if there's thefts from vehicle, we'll post on Facebook. We've had theft from vehicle, please make sure you lock your cars. If there's burglaries, we'll push the vacant house thing. So it's not to the specificity of, hey, this crime occurred.
Right.
And as a result, this is what we're looking for. We kind of just go to, this is the community response. So we can put more information as to, we are seeing this crime.
Okay.
This way, provide that information. But Facebook will be the best resource because, the police blotter, I can tell you, is something that's created over there as far as they can pull the information out of the reporting system.
Yeah.
And publish in that format.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So at this point, I think that we should hold new ideas, until either our next meeting, whenever that is. Jean also proposed a couple of things like, dovetailing off this emergency plan is, there are communities that have dog walker brigades. We already have citizens that are out walking dogs. How can we, help use, that subset of the community to sort of keep eyes on things in a sort of neighborhood watch way. So there are other ideas. I think, we keep coming back to some of the communication issues, the 911 plan, the blotter. Ken sent around a really great annual report that I thought was something that we may want to adopt. So there are certainly ideas that we have out there that we want to pull together. I'm just going to ask that we hold on to them.
Yeah.
One of the other main thing coming out of public health and safety, they're sort of putting a pause on new projects, anything that's not absolutely necessary. We have a new borough manager, there's new staff in the office. We obviously, have the police chief who's managing things. So things that are necessary to go ahead on in terms of new work, is fine. Things that are sort of desirable but not necessary. The thought is like, let's try to give the borough staff a few months to kind of get themselves chugging along, so that we know that the primary functions are being met before we add additional work on. So, for all of those reasons, I think these are all great ideas, and let's just hold on to them until our next meeting. New business, that we're sort of leading into that. Is there any additional new business? Okay. Then at this point, I'm going to adjourn the meeting. We're going to meet in executive session just to work through the report that we're submitting. Thank you.
Thank you.